Welcome to Math TV with Professor V. It's Wednesday, February 15th, 2023. Here's your integral of the day. We have a definite integral from pi over 12 to pi over 6 of cotangent to the fourth of 3t dt. I took the spice level up with the trig because I think we're ready for it. We've been training for this day. Here we go. So right off the bat, you're like, ooh, cotangent to the fourth, that's not good. Let's think what antiderivatives we are familiar with that involve cotangent. Not really any, right? I know the derivative of cotangent t would be negative cosecant squared t. So if I'm going to do any kind of u sub or anything cutesy, I need some cosecants up in this integral. So let's make that happen. First things first, I'm going to break up cotangent to the fourth. So this is pi over 12 to pi over 6. Cotangent squared 3t times another cotangent squared 3t dt, and I want to replace one of the cotangent squareds with the appropriate Pythagorean identity. If you forgot them, it's no big deal. As long as you remember sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1, you're in business. The good thing is I went to school before there were smartphones and we could Google, so I really learned how to remember what formulas I needed and derive the ones that perhaps I forgot on the fly. So cotangent, I know cotangent theta is cosine over sine, so I'm going to divide everything in here by sine squared theta, and then I'm going to get the Pythagorean identity I need to get the ball rolling. So this is going to be 1 plus, that's cotangent squared theta, equals cosecant squared theta. All right, that's perfect. That tells me cotangent squared theta equals cosecant squared theta minus 1. So that's what I'm going to replace that with right here. But be careful, it's cosecant squared 3t minus 1 dt. And then make sure you're not skipping anything. Write the whole integral out. Woo, a little squished. Okay, what to do now? Well, let's go ahead, distribute this cotangent squared. And then we can set ourselves up to do a cute little u sub. And that should do the trick. So we have cotangent squared 3t, cosecant squared 3t dt, minus integral pi over 12 to pi over 6, cotangent squared 3t dt. Okay, very nice. So let's look here. Remember, I reminded you all that the derivative of cotangent theta is negative cosecant squared theta. So you basically want this portion right here to be du. That means, think backwards, u should be just cotangent 3t. Not cotangent squared, no, just cotangent 3t. Then du would be negative 3, don't forget the 3 from the chain rule, cosecant squared 3t dt. And then I'll have negative 1/3 du is cosecant squared 3t dt. I'll call that whole thing its own little integral. Let's go ahead and change our limits of integration. So u of pi over 12, that's cotangent of 3 times pi over 12, that's pi over 4. Cotangent of pi over 4 is 1. And then u of pi over 6, that's going to be cotangent of 3 times pi over 6, that's pi over 2, which is 0. Okay, so now we have here integral from 1 to 0, be careful, and then we've got a negative 1/3 u squared du. Before I keep going, let's make this positive, flip our limits of integration. Ooh, so nice. And then this is going to be 1/3. Antiderivative of u squared is 1/3 u cubed from 0 to 1. And this is 1/9 times 1 cubed minus 0 cubed. So that's just 1/9. Okay, let's save that 1/9, and then we still have a couple more terms to deal with. So I have minus this other integral. I'll just do it separately and then subtract at the end. So again, antiderivative of cotangent squared, I don't know it. But how about we go ahead, replace cotangent squared 3t with cosecant squared 3t minus 1. It'll work out so lovely. So we've got pi over 12 to pi over 6 cosecant squared 3t minus 1 dt. And you should be able to just antidifferentiate this without a u sub. So cosecant squared, antiderivative is going to be a negative cotangent 3t, but I'm going to have to divide by the 3. No big deal. So negative 1/3 cotangent 3t. Then antiderivative of negative 1 would just be negative t. From pi over 12 to pi over 6. I'm going to just take this negative out. And then we've got 1/3 cotangent. I'm already plugging it in. I'm already getting the ball rolling, guys. Keep up. So 3 times pi over 6, that's pi over 2. Minus, oh, this should be a plus when I factor it out. Plus pi over 6, that's the upper limit. Minus, and then we've got 1/3 cotangent, 3 times pi over 12, that's pi over 4, plus pi over 12. So this step I didn't write out is where I factored out the negative, and then I just had 1/3 cotangent 3t plus t, just to make it a little easier while I'm doing my limits of integration. Okay, that's what's going on. So let's see, now we've got minus, and then this is 1/3 cotangent of pi over 2, that's 0, plus pi over 6, minus 1/3 cotangent of pi over 4 is 1, minus pi over 12. So what do we got going on? Negative pi over 6 minus pi over 12 is pi over 12. And then I have minus 1/3. So this is just negative pi over 12 plus 1/3. Okay, what do I do with these two? I subtract them, right? So we had, this is the result from the second integral, which was being subtracted from the first one. So putting it all together, we've got 1/9 minus negative pi over 12 plus 1/3. So that's 1/9 plus pi over 12 minus 1/3. 1/3 is, why yes, 3 over 9. So this is pi over 12 minus 2 over 9. And you are done. Now, to be perfectly honest, when I worked this out on my own, I did not do it this way, because I just did the u sub for the first one in my head. I didn't actually write this all out and switch the integral to being in terms of u. I just left it, made this, I did negative 1 over 9 cotangent cubed 3t. That was aggressive, but when you get more advanced, you can do that and it's no big deal. And then I just was able to keep everything with one integral and keep the limits the same. Okay. If you want to see exactly how I did that, sure, let me show you. So the step where I got to pi over 12 to pi over 6, you have cotangent squared 3t, cosecant squared 3t dt, minus, and then I had this little guy. I had it separate for a second, don't worry, it wasn't the end of the world. And then this was cosecant squared 3t minus 1 dt. So I did just write out, I was like, oh, I'm going to let u be cotangent 3t, and then I know du would be negative 3 cosecant squared 3t dt. So I already knew I was going to pick up like a negative 1/3, and I could imagine in my head, well, then that's going to be u squared. And if I integrate it, it'll be u cubed over 3, and I already have a negative 1 over 3. So I literally just wrote in the next line, negative 1/9 cotangent cubed 3t. And then boom, I went and did this one next as well. I sure did. Plus 1/3 cotangent 3t plus t, all from pi over 12 to pi over 6. And then just finish it off right there. So, I mean, it's up to you how comfortable you are, you know. When you get a little bit more familiar with how U sub works and you've done a bunch of these, you can do that too. So I hope you enjoyed the integral of the day. Give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Check out the rest of my playlist, and you can also catch me on Instagram and TikTok at Math TV with Professor V. Take care, you guys.